Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation. My name is Diego Saez-Gil, and I am a travel entrepreneur. I am originally from Argentina, and I started a company. A company called WeHostels. And what we did was mobile applications that help young travelers find and book budget accommodation like hostels or bed and breakfast in hotels around the world from your mobile device. So the idea is to share some of the things that I learned along the way. Hopefully some of the mistakes that we made can be avoided by others. So I'm going to go through quickly sort of my personal story and how I came to start this company and some of the things that I learned along the way. And then finally, I'm going to open it to questions if any of you guys have questions. So I'm originally from Concepción, Tucumán, Argentina, a very small town in the agricultural north of Argentina. And I always, for some reason, had this dream of traveling the world, and seeing what was outside of my country. So I was lucky enough to get a scholarship to study in Barcelona. So I moved to Spain, and when I was in Barcelona, I had the chance to go backpacking in Europe, and had a lot of fun, made a lot of friends from all over the world, and it was a life-changing experience, and it gave me the confidence to go for my dreams, and also gave me ideas about things that I could do, necessities that travelers have when they're traveling as backpackers, and that's how the idea came to be. And then I got an internship in New York, and I moved from Barcelona to New York. And in New York, I started getting involved in the startup scene. I was already interested in entrepreneurship, so I started going to meetups and to events like this one. And I finally participated with a friend on a startup weekend in New York. And I already had these ideas about mobile apps for travelers that we could build. And from there, we launched our first idea, our first prototype, and the company started. So the mission was sort of from the beginning, help young people travel the world. I had the chance to travel the world, and we wanted to build tools that would make it easier for other people to travel the world. And the journey took us almost 3 years from the very beginning until the end. And last year we were acquired by a company called Student Universe, that is the largest online travel agency for students in the US. And they mainly sell flights. And it was a great complementarity, and I'm going to get to that. Along the way we made a lot of mistakes. We did a lot of things, but I would like to go sort of topic by topic and telling you some of the things that we learned along the way. So starting with team. One of the things that I learned about team is the importance of being everybody together, sharing a sense of mission. At the beginning, one of the things that we did was to split the team into 2 different geographies, because getting good developers in the US is extremely expensive. So I thought, well, being from Argentina, I can take advantage of the talent in Latin America. So we actually hired developers in Buenos Aires and in Colombia, in Bogota. And in New York, we had sort of a marketing team. So this is sort of a marketing team, this is a development team. And that was a problem. I think there is a lot of companies that have managed to build remote teams, distributed teams, and make it work. But I wouldn't do it again, because I think at the beginning, there is something with everybody being together. And I love the idea that you guys implement here at Lisbon Challenge with the bootcamp. I think this sense of being everybody together, having a sense of a shared mission is extremely important at the beginning when you're building the initial phase of the company, because it builds a culture that then has a lot of impact on your products and your decisions. So I think the biggest lesson there was the importance of being everybody together. Of course, the other obvious lesson about team is the importance of complementarity. You need people that have complementary skills. You need people that are strong in the technical side, and you need people that are strong in the marketing and sales and distribution side. And you need both. And I think in certain companies there is a bias towards one of the 2 areas, and that's fine. But you always need to have people in all the areas. Um, product. One of the things that I did learn about product, I think we all know in the startup world the importance of iteration and starting with an MVP and launching before you're ready, and that's fine. But one of the things that I learned is that in today's world, in which there are so many startups, there's so many mobile apps in the App Store, you really need a good product. So there's some people that talk about minimum beautiful product or something like that. You do need to go out with a product of quality. So sort of the counterintuitive or the contrarian argument there to the lean startup school is that you really need to take time to work with a product that is not gonna be sort of a waste of a shot when you launch, right? So in that sense, we didn't do that. We launched kind of like a very basic product, and we lost a lot of shots because we got users coming to our product, and the product wasn't ready, and then these users didn't come back, And in travel, that's I think it's especially true because in travel, one of the challenges is the infrequency of the episodic nature of travel, right? You're not traveling every week, as opposed to other sort of kind of products in which you do use them every week. So in that sense, I think my advice, or if I was going to start a company again, would be to really take time to build a product that you feel that is going to be good, and then from there, sure, start iterating and understanding what users want and what's the features that are actually the most important ones. Market. So in terms of market, I also have a contrarian view. Venture capitalists and investors in general want big markets. And I think that it's better to be a big fish in a small pond than to be a small fish in a big pond. And the reason is because at the beginning, if you try to be everything for everyone, you are going to be nothing for nobody. So I think at the beginning it's important to find a small niche market that you can really understand, that you can build a product that nobody else is building, and really own this small market. And if you see all the success stories started like that, And today everybody uses Facebook, but Facebook started as a social network for Harvard, right? And every success story always starts with a small market. And of course, in the future you can expand to other markets, but I think I'd rather start with a small market and be the best company in this market. Because the other thing that I also learned is that marginal improvements are not enough for a startup company. You have to be truly different. You have to be 10 times better than what exists, and you have to really satisfy a need that either nobody's satisfying or that you can satisfy in a significantly better way. So the only way to do that is to focus on a small niche market. Don't tell that to venture capitalists. When you are pitching venture capitalists, tell them that you're going to go for huge billion-dollar markets, right? but in your own execution, I think focus on one small market and try to be the best one. Try to have monopoly in this small market. Yeah, in our case was focus on backpackers, and we got a lot of criticism, or many people tell us that we were focusing on a market that was too small, in a market that was not that profitable as other travelers, and they were completely right in that sense. But at the same time, this helped us sort of get a unique angle when we were pitching the press. In the App Store, because we were early in the App Store, and we optimized for all the keywords like backpacking and hostel. We got a really good position in the App Store, and as a result, we got some organic growth just by focusing on one specific segment. Timing. I think timing is everything. Is something that everybody knows, but I think in startups it's very important to spend a lot of time thinking, why now? Why your company makes sense today? Why this company hasn't been built in the past, or why it's not going to be in the future kind of the best time to build this company? And yeah, I think having a good answer for yourself and for others of why you're building this company today what is going on. I think in that sense it's very important to understand sort of what's going on in technology, what's going on in your industry, and what are the dynamics that make this moment the right moment for your company. In that sense, this is a slide from Mary Meeker presentation that I'm sure that all of you guys have checked out, and I had it in my deck. How the exponential growth of mobile. When we were pitching our company was, in 2012 that we raised a round, and the exponential growth of mobile was sort of the why now. There weren't companies, there were many companies building mobile-first solutions for travelers. So that was sort of our timing. And frankly, when we sold the company, and we're going to talk about the acquisition later, one of the reasons was that since we were so early on mobile, we had learned a lot, and the company that bought us was a web-first company, and they really wanted to get a hold on mobile, and we had the mobile expertise in terms of building a product and distributing the mobile channels. Distribution. In distribution, I think the argument is that you have to use a Mormon strategy, which is going door by door and convincing one by one at the beginning. And I think software people, developers, we tend to think about scalable way of doing things, and that's completely fine. But I think at the beginning you do need to really go door by door, talking one by one with your potential customers, and because this is a way to really understand what you're building, what are the, how to make happy this small niche, and then in the future you're going to have to think of more scalable strategies for distribution. In that sense, I think there are mainly two. This is like a huge generalization because each business is different. But I think you either have a viral way of acquiring customers at scale. After you did your Mormon strategy, you understand your product, you have product market fit, then you either grow virally because the product has some inherent viral quality, meaning that the product incentivizes users in a very organic way to bring other users, or you have a paid strategy. And if you have a paid strategy, it means that you have to pay in certain channels to acquire your customers. And if this is the case, then you have to really focus on understanding what's your LTV, lifetime value of a customer, what's the revenue that you can extract from a specific customer in their lifetime, and then make sure that the cost of acquiring this customer is lower than the lifetime value. So you have to be extremely focused on those metrics. And if you have a viral strategy, then you have to really understand what's the viral coefficient, how many new customers each customer brings, and my observation of my company and other companies is that you either have one or the other, and you cannot be in between. And I saw a lot of pitches of people that says we have some viral features, and we also going to do ads on Facebook and Google AdWords, and I think it's either one or the other. And in the travel industry, I think that there are really few examples of viral growth. I think Airbnb is one because each new node of marketplace, like Airbnb, that is a two-sided marketplace, bring new customers. You travel and you stay in an Airbnb, and then you become a host as well. But this is a very uncommon case in the travel industry. Most of the travel companies, both in B2B and B2C, actually have paid strategies and are very focused on ROI. And I think it's important to consider that. Defensibility. I think this is something that is not talked too much in the startup world, and I think it's very important to understand how your company can be defensible. What are the barriers to entry that you're going to build after you really enter a market and get customers. And I think there are four main defensibility strategies that I think companies can use. I think number one is proprietary technology. I think in that sense, my contrarian view as well is that patents do make sense for startups. Actually, there are ways to file to protect your IP in a very lean way, and I think that even though I'm opposed to sort of the patent trolls and people that try to take advantage of owning patents. I do think that for startups add value to start thinking on protecting your IP and on trying to develop something that is unique in terms of technology. The second one is network effects. If you can build a business that has some network effects, like in the travel industry, marketplaces, I mean, the value that Booking.com has today in the market is so big, is because of the network effect. And TripAdvisor the same, and there are many examples. Number three, economies of scale. I think this is something that in every software, internet, mobile startup is something that you have it. You have zero marginal cost. Bringing new customers doesn't add new cost. And then finally, brand. I do think that building a brand is something that will bring defensibility to a company. And I think from the beginning you have to understand what's the story you're telling. And really, a brand, I think, is telling a story and then fulfilling your promises, consistently. And in that sense, I think customer service is a really good branding strategy. And I think the examples of Zappos and Amazon, their sort of strong focus on customer service is an example of branding in the web. Investment. In terms of investment, my view, my sort of also contrarian view is that you have to raise as much money as you can. I think the lean startup school of thought is raise as few money as you can. But I think really things take time. Most companies pivot, and in that sense you need runway. You need to have as much funding as possible so you can have time to figure it out. Now the reality is that you have to raise money when you can, and you have to raise as much money as you can, as I said. In that sense, I think you have to be very honest with yourself and understand whether you have already what investors want to see to invest. And in that sense, I think you have to think as an investor and understand what they're looking for. I think today we have a lot of tools that help us know who the investors are and how they think. In that sense, Angel List and the web in general, all the information is available in blogs. I think is very important to consider. We were able to raise 2 rounds. The first one was only with angels, and the second one was with some seed funds from different countries. Actually, we raised a round with investors from New York, from Spain, from Argentina, and from Germany. And I think this is something that is totally new. It didn't happen in the past. And today we have the ability to tap this global network of investors. And in that sense, I think that the key for us was to find one lead investor that really believed in our vision and that sort of was the anchor that brought the other investors in. But it took a lot of pitching. Here's a picture in a Shark Tank kind of situation. We pitched. I remember I had an Excel sheet with 120 investors, and I think we reached out to. We were able to communicate of this list with 8 investors, and out of these 8 investors, we ended up raising money from probably 15 investors. So it's really also a numbers game, and you have to know that it's going to take time and a lot of persistence. And in terms of exit, the reason we sold the company was a couple of reasons. One was that we learned that it was going to be really challenging to scale. We saw that our timing was good at the beginning, and then mobile was getting really competitive. And we found this synergy with Student Universe. Student Universe is a web company, we were a mobile company. They're mainly focused on flights, we're mainly focused on accommodations, and they already had the user base. They have 8 million students registered in the database. They sell a lot of flights, and everybody who books a flight will need an accommodation when they are on the go. So there was a great synergy. So for us, it was really kind of a way to make our product reach escape velocity reach as many customers as possible. And I think in that sense, it's important to develop relationships in the industry. I think from the beginning you have to try to be in the radar of companies in the industry, try to do partnerships with companies in the industry, because there's always some win-win situations. As you mentioned at the beginning, big companies know that startups bring innovation to larger companies. So I think you have to try to develop these relationships, and I think that nobody should start a company with an exit strategy or thinking that you start a company because you want to sell it. You should always start a company because you want to bring the product to the world and build the biggest possible company that you can build. But I think at the same time, you have to be realistic and know that it's important to not be isolated and participate in your industry and try to build these partnerships. So that was the trajectory. One of the things I wanted to remark about this chart is that we got sort of this exponential growth, but at the beginning nothing happened. We had really this is actually the curve of sales, and at the beginning we had no sales, and that was like very worrisome. And it was because our product didn't have product market fit, because we launched too early, and yeah, what I said at the beginning about product. But the other thing is that success, this is what people think it looks like, and this is what it really looks like. So, yeah, in that sense, I think being persistent and trying a lot of different things is very important. That's why I said raise as much money as you can, take time to build your product. At the beginning, do unscalable distribution strategies, and this is going to take time, and it's going to be a lot of mess at the beginning, and be persistent, because it's the only way to end up figuring it out. And then I want to finalize with one message. This is a travel quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Don't go where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. And what I mean with this is that every company is different. If you try to do what others did in the past, you're going to fail, because the success stories, they didn't do the things of the past. Each company is unique, each story is unique, So I think in that sense, listen to all the feedback and please try to get as much mentoring as possible. But at the same time, when it comes to taking your decisions, think of your singular situation and take your own decisions, take your own path, and hopefully this path is going to inspire others. And yeah, choose your own trail. So, and then finally, one message I always try to send to new entrepreneurs is try to make the world a better place. I think that you're going to spend a lot of time working on your company, and I think that the only way to persist is if you really believe that what you're doing has a value that goes beyond yourself, goes beyond making money for your investors, and truly makes the world a better place. So thank you. That's it.